this video, I'll explain both speed and velocity. So first, let's start with speed. Average speed is the total distance traveled by an object for a given period of time. In other words, speed is equal distance over time, as shown here. And the SI units of speed are meters per second, because distance is represented in meters and time is represented in seconds. So as you can see, speed SI units are in meters per seconds. Now this triangle shows the relationship between distance, speed and time. So as you can see, speed is equal to distance over time. And distance is equal to speed multiply time. While time is equal to distance over speed. Now let's get to some questions. Tony traveled from his house to school, which is 200 meters away, in 2.5 minutes. What was the average speed of Tony in meters per second? So first, we should convert the time given from minutes to seconds. 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. And he said we have 2.5 minutes. So we'll multiply 2.5 by 60. 2.5 multiplied 60 is equal to 150 seconds. And that will be our time. Now, we know the time, which is 150 seconds. And we know the distance, which is 200 meters. So the speed will equal to distance over time, which is 200 over 150. So speed is equal to 4 over 3 meters per second. And that will be our final answer. What about this example? Ahmed traveled with his family to another city, which is 150 kilometers away from their current city by car. The trip was 1.5 hours long. What was the average speed of the car Ahmed was driving in meters per second? So here he wants the average speed of the car in this trip. So first we need to convert 150 kilometers to meters. We know that 1 kilometer have 1000 meters. So 150 kilometers will have 150 multiply 1000 meter. 150 multiply 1000 is equal to 150,000 meters. Now, what about time? Time is 1.5 hours long. We know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes, and each minute have 60 seconds, right? So in order to know how many seconds in 1 hour, we should multiply 60 by 60, which will equal to 3600. We know that the trip took 1.5 hours long. 3600 is equal to 1 hour. The half of 3,600 is 1,800, and we will add 1,800 to 3,600 because 3,600 seconds is equal to 1 hour and 1,800 seconds is equal to 0.5 hours. So 3,600 plus 1,800 is equal to 5,400 seconds. Let me clear up some space. So now the distance traveled in meters and the time in seconds. And the speed is equal to distance over time. So the speed will equal to 150 thousandths over 5,400, which will be 27.7 meters per second. Now what about this example? Lynn started walking on a treadmill at 6 a.m. and finished at 6:30 a.m. If Lynn was walking with a constant speed of 5 kilometers per hour, what is the total distance she traveled in meters? So here's the time is equal to 30 minutes. The time she spent walking on the treadmill is equal to 30 minutes because she only walked from 6 a.m. till 6:30 a.m. And her speed is given as 5 kilometers per hour. And that means that every hour passes, she run 5 kilometers. So in this case, she only run for 30 minutes, which is half an hour. So she only traveled the distance of 2.5 kilometers. However, he wants the value of distance given in meters. So we have to convert from kilometers to meters. In order to do that, we will multiply by 1,000. So the answer will be 2,500 meters. What about this example? If an airplane was flying from Paris to New York with a constant speed of 800 kilometers per hour, and the trip was 5,800 kilometers long, how much time would the trip take in hours? So we know that time is equal to distance over speed. The distance given here is equal to 5,800 kilometers, and the speed is equal to 800 kilometers per hour. So dividing these two values will get the time. So the answer will be 7.25 hours. The velocity is the displacement of an object over a given period of time. That means that velocity is equal to the displacement, which is delta x, over total time, which is delta t. And its SI units are in meters per seconds. And the main difference between speed and velocity is that velocity have both magnitude and a direction, while the speed don't have a direction. That means that the velocity is a vector. In a well-known novel, a person travels around the world in 80 days. The approximate circumference of the equator is 40,000 kilometers. What is the average speed and velocity for the entire trip? So let's start with the speed. Speed is equal to distance over time. Distance is given as 40,000 kilometers and time is equal to 80 days. So 40,000 divided by 80 is equal to 500 kilometers per day. And that was his speed in kilometers per day. Now, what about the velocity? Velocity is equal to delta x over time. Now we know that the person in the novel traveled around the world. So let's say that that's the Earth. And he started at this point here. And he traveled all around the Earth, finishing at the starting point. So that means that the displacement, or xf minus xi, is equal to 0, because the starting point is the same as the ending point. So in this case, the velocity is equal to 0 as well. A rally car driver sets out on a 100-kilometer race. At the halfway marker, his scroll radius that he has an average speed of 80 km per hour. So at a race of 100 km, in the halfway point, the average speed of the driver in the first half of the race was 80 km per hour, as given here. So he wants us to find the speed of the second part of the race, let's say x km per hour, that will lead to an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour for the entire race. Right? So we know that an average of any quantity is equal to the sum over the number. For example, if I want the average of 2 and 4, I will add 2 and 4 and divide them by the number of values we have, which are 2 values. So in this case, the average of 2 and 4 will equal to 6 over 2, which is 3. We will apply the same rule here. We know that the average speed should be equal to 100, as given here. And the first speed, let's say S1, is equal to 80. And we don't know S2. It's equal to X. And then we'll apply the arithmetic mean rule I showed you earlier, which is 100 equal to 80 plus X over the quantity. In this case, we have two quantity, S1 and S2. So we'll write 2 in the denominator. And then we'll solve for X. Solving for X, we'll have X plus 80 equal to 200. And then we'll subtract 80 from both sides, so that X will equal to 120 kilometers per hour.